Hi, I'm Annie. Today I'm going to talk about personal accountability versus outside accountability. By the way, I still need a few more volunteers to finish this coach training assignment. I need people who are willing to do a free 1-hour coaching session on Zoom. If you're interested in that, feel free to reach out. My contact information is in the description. So I've thought about this idea of personal responsibility, personal accountability pretty much my whole life. It's always been a theme. And the Ryan Reynolds class today and the Thursday Objective Personality class just reminded me of this. There seems to be overwhelming agreement that outside accountability is a useful strategy for achieving goals and getting shit done. And statistically, it is true. But just because it's statistically true that having an accountability partner or an accountability group works for achieving goals does not mean that that's how everyone operates. So for me, naturally, it's not how I operate. Having an accountability partner doesn't really do anything for me. But I do recognize that for most people, it does. Achieving a goal with a group usually increases the likelihood that the goal will be achieved for most people. That is statistically true and scientifically backed. But not everyone operates that way. So most of the time, even when we use the word accountability, there's this assumption that it implies other people. But the actual definition of accountability is the fact or condition of being accountable, responsibility. There's nothing within the definition that implies other people at all. But there's just this general assumption that that's what we mean when we talk about accountability. It's like accountability to something outside of oneself. My sense of accountability and responsibility just doesn't really include that. The essential nature of accountability to me just means accountability to myself. When I hear the word accountability, I'm thinking in these really DI terms, and it's probably because I'm DI and because I'm play last that the word accountability has those connotations for me. And I've always felt this way, even as a small person. As far back as I can remember, that's just how I operate. But a lot of people do find accountability partners, accountability groups to be very helpful, and it helps them to achieve whatever goal it is that they're aiming for. And that's great because it's also their preference, because they think it's fun. They think it's fun to achieve goals with other people. And that's awesome. It's just not how I operate. I went to a really close-knit high school, and there's this one guy in the school that became really enthusiastic about fitness. And he's very emphatic that in order to succeed as an athlete, you have to work out with other people. He's just extremely emphatic about it. And I think that that is true for a lot of people, that if you want to get in shape or you want to achieve some fitness goal, join a group, do it with other people. Statistically, the likelihood of your success is greater if you have that outside accountability. But it's not true for everyone. And I guess I just found his emphaticness about that a little bit triggering, because I was seeing in Facebook threads that there were people who were reaching out and asking for help, like, how can I achieve this specific fitness goal? And he was just so adamant about it. You have to do it with other people. You have to. And that is true for a lot of people, but it's not true for everyone. So I would always, chime in and be the devil's advocate and say, yeah, that is true. It's statistically true, but it's not true for everyone. What do you think is going to help you achieve your goal? Because everyone's different and everyone operates differently. So I would hate for someone to hear that message, like, you must work out with other people, and then maybe that's not the right thing for them. Maybe that's not their best way for achieving that goal. And then it just sort of falls apart for them because there's this really emphatic person insisting that that's the only way, and it really isn't the only way. Some people just don't work like that. So I've always felt this way, even since I was very young, and it's probably just being DI, being play last. It just feels a little off to me. And it also feels kind of scary. It's scary to me to rely on other people to achieve my goals, or to rely on the energy of the tribe in order to achieve my goals. It's accountability and responsibility is a core value of mine, and it starts with accountability to myself. And then, of course, I am accountable to other people. I'm happy to be accountable to other people when it's appropriate. I'm accountable to my partner to take responsibility in, the relationship relationship and the external things that we need to get done and accomplish in our daily lives. But the essential drive behind that responsibility is like personal. Like I decide that I'm going to be responsible and do the things that I say I'm going to do. So it doesn't help to check in with other people, or the whole idea of accountability partner just doesn't do anything for me. Although I'm happy to be that for someone else because I recognize that it is very helpful for other people. And that's one of the main functions as a coach, that people are looking for outside accountability, and checking in with me once a week or twice a month helps them to achieve their goal. And I think that's awesome. And I also see that people are having a lot of fun achieving goals with other people in a group because that's how they're wired and it's fun. And I think that's amazing and awesome for them. So to me, I don't really mind if someone relies on me for that, but I don't want to rely on anyone for that because it feels more complicated. Like, for example, when I was running with a running group, that depended on coordinating schedules and it depended on other people showing up. I don't want to depend on other people showing up. So what happens if you have an accountability partner and you have this goal to run 30 miles a week, but then your accountability partner is flaky and they don't show up? So then what do? How do you find the drive to put on your shoes and go out and run alone if you are reliant on that accountability partner? So I guess my point is that when you want to achieve a goal, having an accountability partner is statistically a really good method for getting there, but there's a chance that it might not be the right method for you, and that's totally okay. And I also feel like people love to tribe. They love to do things together, and people are wired that way. They love achieving goals together. And I think that's great and it's fine, and whatever gets you to your goal is awesome. But I think that it's also a good idea to develop some personal accountability on your own, just in case there are situations where people flake on you, or a situation where you are really called to just pull on your own inner strength and inner direction to get things done. I think that it's just good to have both. And I could probably work on doing things with a team more because that's the thing that I kind of resist. Like, no, I'll do it on my own. I'll do it on my own. And there are situations where I really do need to work with other people. And I have noticed that people are kind of flaky, and I probably need to just like find a way to navigate that, I guess, because there are some situations where you just have to do things with other people. So I guess everyone should strive to be more balanced. Like, if you always rely on outside forces and outside accountability, then it's good to develop that inner accountability and personal responsibility. And if you're somebody who avoids accomplishing things with others, maybe you should do some experiments and try to accomplish something with a group, because there are times in life when that's going to come up and you're going to need to do it. And that's one of the reasons that I did the whole running group. Because I was resistant to it, I decided that I needed to go there, and I did. I did it for 3 years, and I still prefer just doing things alone and personal responsibility. But at least I did it, and I had the experience of coordinating with a team, accomplishing something together. Another thing that reminded me specifically of this topic today is that I saw a post this morning, and it was someone from this coach training group that I'm doing. And there's this one assignment that she was having a lot of trouble finishing. And to be fair, I had a little bit of trouble finishing it too, because it's a book report about an extremely dry book. And it's not available on audio. If it was available on audio, it'd be easier for me to consume it and get through it. But I have to just sit down and read these words, or I do like the Apple thing where the robot voice is reading it to me. It's just not a very natural sounding voice. Anyway, she's really procrastinating on this assignment, which I did also because it's just not a fun assignment. Her post was about having trouble finishing this assignment, and her strategy was that she wanted to create a separate Facebook group for accountability for people having trouble finishing any of the assignments within the coach training program. And I was just thinking, like, how much effort and coordination that would take to have a Facebook group for accountability when you could literally just do the assignment. Like, even if the assignment took 10 hours, which I don't think it does. I think it could be done much quicker than that. But you could literally just put 30 minutes of effort in for 20 days and you would be done. But instead, she wanted to create a whole Facebook group, which just seems really like tedious and big to me, so that she could have this accountability buddy system for completing this assignment that really isn't a big deal to complete. I mean, It's not fun, it's kind of tedious, but it's really not that hard. So I guess it's just like a difference in personality. To me, creating and maintaining a Facebook group is hard. Finishing an assignment by myself is not. So yeah, we're all wired differently. But those are just some thoughts that I had about internal accountability versus outside accountability. They're both great. Whatever gets you to your goal is awesome, but it's probably good to have your foot in both worlds, be somewhat proficient in both methods of getting shit done.